We're just going to start. You like that? Bam. Here we are.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah. Good morning. I think I have everything set up right. I got excited. Alexis was sharing some resources with us, and I was like clicking things, and I was like, oh, look, it's time. And Will says, oh, it's time. And I went, oh, let me hit the button. And then I didn't. We're just not doing a countdown. So you made it. Congratulations. Welcome to the Coffee Table Talks Leadership Conversations with our amazing guest, Alexis Robinson. I'm so glad you came. Hello. And with me, as always, is Will McCullen, the Program Director for the IT Center for Excellence at PIMA Community College in Tucson, Arizona. That's a big, long title.
Actually, I'm a manager, but that's okay. I'd take the promotion.
You're not a program manager. I see. Yeah. I see my error, the error of my ways. Titles are convoluted. Look, they're so fancy. Look, if you haven't met me before, hi, I'm Rachel Arnold, also known as the Human API. How you doing? That's how that goes. Hey, Brad, we see you in the LinkedIn chat coming in. Perfectly clear. Very excited you're here. I know there's a few other people too, but I did not click those things open. So Alexis, yes. We had you. I had it was me, you, and Summer Dan, and a couple of the ladies from Tech for Girls and stuff like that. Earlier this year we started doing a little roundtable that I could not continue because schedules did not work out.
Yes.
So there's like 2 or 3 episodes of that. You guys can go check out the YouTube channel at the Human API and find that. Sorry. But I love Alexis. I got to meet her by doing that event and following just what she's been doing lately. And Alexis started this very cool thing, the Leadership Conversation Series, which can be found at the link right here. And it's going to be a 5-part series. And the first part is up. And the next part concerning leadership is going to be up next week.
Yes. Yeah. I promised myself that I actually do it next week. Yes.
Nice. I like it. I love it. That's awesome. I know you're in Miami today, aren't you?
Yes, okay, I am.
So tell us a little bit about that. What you doing in Miami?
So I'm actually here for like an internal conversation, honestly, an internal like talk with the other leaders, my other counterparts within different countries and industries. So I represent U.S. government security and compliance, but there's equivalents of me in Latin America, Caribbean markets, as well as Canada. So we're all coming together, but there's also a cross section of us amongst different industries. So FSI, like financials, financial services, as well as healthcare, automotive, telecommunications. Yeah, so it's like just a coming together, a meeting of the minds. It's not a lot of people, so want to make sure, go be conscious, it's not a lot of people at all, whatsoever. But it's a good to kind of connect, especially over the pandemic, and actually like talk to each other in person. There's a lot of people that actually joined our company during the pandemic, which is a lot of people have been talking about too. And it's like, wait, I've talked to you for a year, and I've never actually met you, or I've bonded with you. I've seen your kids, I've seen your whole house, but I didn't even know how tall you were. Like it's that kind of connection point. And it's just easier to share ideas in this way.
Yeah, I know the feels on that. Will and I hadn't met till a couple weeks ago.
Awesome.
I was really glad to find out I didn't have to bend down real low to hug him. Not that that's a problem. Like I don't care if you're a shorter person, but I'm like 6 feet tall. Okay, I know I look real short sitting down, and kind of built like a linebacker. So it's always it's not that I'm upset. It's usually that they're like, whoa, but that didn't happen. So
do I look short?
You want me to answer that? Am I really? I know better now. Does that count?
My God. My gosh.
Yeah, anyhow. So tell us about your leadership.
Wait, is that the question?
I don't know. It's the coffee Coffee Table Talks. We make this up as we go.
All right, so I will say this about leadership. I didn't know what the hell it was really before, or I thought I had in my mind. You have a vision of like what the leader is. It's usually like a superhero with a cape, usually a tall guy. Yeah, exactly. Like we command this, or a general. And so I didn't realize until like probably when I was in my early 20s that, well, one, Beyonce is a great leader, and two, that leaders come in different forms. And I am a very self-deprecating person. So when people come to me and give me any compliments on leadership, I'm like, well, I ain't do nothing. I don't know what you're talking about. But then I started to get more people coming and approaching me to be their mentor for different things. And I'm like, I don't understand. I still to this day sometimes don't understand it, which is a little bit of imposter syndrome, which is another conversation and a confidence issue. I'll deal with that in my own time. My therapist is great. But it's like, it's like I started to realize, like, oh, there's certain things, not just leadership in general, that people wanted to come to me for. And because I was still like perplexed, like, why are people coming to me in for these leadership conversations? I would ask more questions like, what are you coming to me really for? Like, what did you see that made you feel like I would be a good person to help you with this topic? Because I am not qualified, and I thought, in my opinion. And it came to me about very specific things. And so that's when I was like, you know what? I'm going to actually do this leadership conversations piece on my blog. I started the blog during the pandemic, obviously, like in 2020. So it was a way to, one, get the word out about certain things that were on my mind. But two, I was having a lot of the same discussions and repeating the same things. I also wanted to try to start writing a book. I was like, well, the only way to start doing that is to start writing. And it's great to do that in a blog and actually get some feedback and understanding if this is what you should be writing about. So that's when I started the blog. But when I started the series, I was thinking, okay, I've collected, I don't know how many, mentees over the course of the past like 10 years that I've worked with and worked on very specific areas. And I realized that, one, anyone can be a leader. You don't have to fit a certain mold. The only thing is the results. So if you look at the results of you being a leader, you are a leader if you carry on or have these results, right? And there are certain things that people care about in certain leaders than others. And I'm not saying I'm a leader for everyone, but for me, it was specifically these 5 areas that I really thought about. So the first 4 areas were fearlessness. You were like, okay, you are bold as hell, Alexis. You don't care about nothing, and you will be the person to speak truth to power. Usually in a fun way. People don't even realize it's happening. Usually I'm like, aren't you wrong?
I love,
and at first I was just being blunt and like completely analytical thinking. My mother taught me that. But like then I realized that it does.
Super sneaky. You are about to be mentored. You just don't know it.
Right.
I love it.
It's like, some people will call it shady, but I will say it's fearlessness. I'm just going to say what I want to say, and usually because there's some risk to it, so I have to say it, especially in security. And then secondly is like authenticity. I'm like, I am who I am. This is me. And it does attract certain people to me because I'm just boldly who I am, even though there's a struggle and time it took to actually get there. Rachel, first off,
I'm so attracted to you. You have no idea. I'm
attracted to you, girl.
That's my people.
And then next was like strategic thinking, which is the third part of the series, which was a lot of people will come to me like, hey, how do I plan for this? I'm like, oh, well, this is how you do it, or here's just how you need to connect to, and this is how you need to get to break down this big idea into sizable chunks. And then it was just sponsorship. It's like constantly I'm sitting there at some event. I'm like, you know what, we should talk to this person, or you know who we should bring, this other person, or you know what, I don't want to go, bring my other person with. Like it's bringing people to the table, and people trust the fact that you're going to do that. It also helps. So, and then my last part is executive presence. I'm just going to be real. I hate executive presence. I hate the term. I hate everything about it. And I can go into, if you want me to, I can go into exactly what, okay, I will do it. So the reason why I don't like executive presence is because usually it does, and I'm a very analytical person, it doesn't really match up with the results of what someone is bringing as a leader. So a lot of times people will say, oh, oh, this person lacks executive presence. But why? Because they're not the version of leader you're thinking in your head they should be, that they're not talking a certain way, they don't look a certain way. And I would get that feedback at some, like, earlier in my career. And at first I would take it to heart. But then I realized I was doing all of these things. And I actually turned it on its head and asked the person that was giving me the feedback the last time, like, hey, what do you actually mean? And they would say things like, well, you want the partners or leaderships to be able to listen to you. And I'm like, well, they do. They did this, 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 and this. And then they would say, oh, well, you want to be able to present to a room of like 500 people. I'm like, wait, no, I've done that. What are you talking about? Like, well, maybe I just haven't seen it. I'm like, okay, well, maybe I should just give you a ticket to the show because that show is over here.
Well, yeah, that's me going, that sounds like, this is starting to sound like a them problem.
Yes, exactly.
Not an Alexis problem.
Exactly. And then the third thing was like, oh, well, you want it so that somebody can follow you off a cliff, pretty much. I'm like, first of all, I don't want no one following me off a cliff. That's dangerous. Secondly, it's like, I don't. Secondly, it's like, well, people do follow me, or not necessarily social media follow like that, but like if I'm going down a direction, I generally attract people that want to also achieve that vision too.
Again,
so what are you?
Anything Alexis is doing, I'm like, yes, we're doing that.
Okay, well, thank you. But that's where I really diagnosed. I'm like, wait a minute now, this executive presence thing, it doesn't really seem like it's real. People are assigning it. They think this way, but at the same time, generationally too, it's going to be a different type of leader for every generation. It doesn't make them less of a leader because they don't fit a mold of what another generation or another race or another group of people or another society perceives that leader being. Just because you can't walk across the street and see that person and you may not know that they're an executive, they actually might be an executive. And it's on you to not even recognize that they are one because of the antiquated understandings and biases that people have about what makes a leader or an executive and what does not. So yeah. It's like, I want to change the narrative. It's not that I want to like lampoon anyone that gets that feedback, because that feedback might be actually genuine, but it has to be based on facts and results and specifics, and not just, oh, you just need general executive presence, because then you're downplaying the variety of leaders we actually have in our society and what they look like and what they come in all shapes and sizes.
Yeah.
You can't be mad that a Black woman is not in a suit and tie or suit and tie or a full suit, set when we got Jeff and Elon running around with the same hoodie. Come on. It's the same hoodie. Right? They wore it twice.
Like executive presence. I mean, you look at some of these executives that are wildly successful in their roles and their ability to lead groups of people to ideas or, to completion or whatever the goal is. And it's not so much that their executive presence is so intimidating, everybody just blindly follows them. No, it's that they are relatable on a personal level to those people. The core of their message relates back. Like, it was Simon Sinek that said a couple of years ago, he was doing two different talks one was at Microsoft and one was at Apple. And he said during the Microsoft conference, everybody was at Microsoft talking about how they're going to beat Apple. That was the goal, right? All the executive leadership got up and was like, how are we going to get better? How are we going to get better? How are we going to get better? And it's because they're so focused at that conference. They may have changed some things since then. I'm not sure. Again, referencing a Simon Sinek thing. That they were looking at a short-term game rather than a long-term game, which was, to kind of internalize and compete more with themselves rather than somebody from the outside. So Apple has a thing, the message whenever you sign on to purchasing an Apple product, right? And they are expensive. They're more expensive, but it's this idea, right? You're not buying necessarily an Apple product, but you're buying into the brand's idea. Most people, when they think of Apple, think of, like damn the man, right? Like that's part of, like, it's a counterculture thing. Their products relate more closely to their market than a lot of people view Microsoft as like the big baddie, right? Like Microsoft just eats stuff and then they spit it out, and sometimes it's okay and most times it's not. But anyway, and it's like super corporate, right? It feels very buttoned up and non-inclusive and not made for everybody, but it still is. Why do we have that concept and difference? And it's because of their ability to relate to their audience as a leader in their industry, right? You go follow them.
Yes.
Well, the big thing that Simon brings up, right, is that people don't buy what you do. They buy what you believe, right? Yeah. And so the points that you brought out there, because you mentioned elements like vision, you mentioned elements of practicality, and kind of left that to go away from posturing, right? So how much of your background with things that you've been in, that things they've done, have helped to make you and to teach you that leadership? What were some of those elements that really inspired you to take that route, with that different viewpoint?
I think one thing that's a benefit of being in security is that when things don't work, you know. And so there's not really a way to hide behind anything. And so I didn't realize that there was a connection with security and leadership for a while, because security in my thought was what you did, and then leadership was just kind of like how you implement. But then it started to kind of weave together. So as a leader, and but also as a security practitioner, you have to be honest about what's going on. There's no posturing when something happens, right? You can't really do that because it's not helpful to anyone. You can't really lie about whose fault it was, because you have to diagnose and do a root cause analysis. So it takes away some of the bad habits that you may think of in bad leaders automatically by just doing the job. And then you incorporate it, if you're built in that way, you incorporate it to other aspects of different like practices, because that's just becoming now your personality. So partly is I'm very self-critical, because you have to be in the security job. You just have to be. Because if you mess around too much trying to figure out that somebody else is at fault, or not having, a vision for something, then you're gonna pretty much get egg on your face pretty much immediately. That's one. Two, because the security landscape is changing, we're always forced to accommodate what those changes are, which means if you don't have a vision, then you're just playing whack-a-mole every 5 minutes. So it's practically that, like, having a vision and a strategy is part of the job, but it's like a practice for something bigger, right? Like if you're going to deal with, I know on average, I'm going to get this many incidents a year. I need to plan for a team to be able to deal with that many a year. And I also need to plan for, okay, how do I make this faster? How do I make us be able to diagnose things faster? There's a runtime of how it actually happens. So when we diagnose, or when we discover something, diagnose something, actually deal with it. How do I make that shorter? And that brings into what tooling do I need? How many people, what skill set do they need to have they didn't have before? Do I need actually more PMs? Do I need more TPMs? Do I need more engineers? All that comes to play when you're operating a security machine, right? But then when you just move that over to something else, it's like give you a new task to deal with. You're like, okay, I figure out how to diagnose this. I know how to actually put in a vision for this. The other thing too is the work we do is can be sometimes labor intensive. And so you have to inspire people that even though they want to get into security, when they're actually on the job, it can be very tiring. It can be a lot for people. So how do you inspire people to continue on in the job? Because it's necessary. If you can't just say, oh, because this is the job, we got to get it done. You'll still lose really good talent that way. And we're all fighting for the same talent. It's like we're all picking from the same pool. So how do you make people want to stay with you when, one, someone can offer them more money in 2 seconds? Two, the competitors also want them because they have intellectual property from another group.
Yeah.
And three, when at the moment's notice, things can get so bad that the burnout itself can make them quit. So you have to be able to inspire your team as well to deal with the changes, also think strategically, and also be inspired to want to, push forward for not just solving this many tickets or getting through this many incidents or authorizing this many services, but also I see where we're going. I know what's happening for our customers. I see the impact that can drive forward.
Right. And part of that, I think a lot of that corporate culture is actually, lending to a lot of the problems, within the Great Resignation, right? And then the ability now for qualified candidates to jump ship because so many more companies that do have a positive corporate culture are making positions available remote. And it's if you can, then you're gonna, you know what I mean? Why try to fix this broken ship that's sinking, as far as culture is concerned, and not just, take a life raft over to that ship over there that looks like it's sailing pretty smooth.
Right.
Like, there's a couple of motivators why it is that people suddenly leave a position, and a big one is culture. People will take a pay cut to be able to get to feel like they're heard and appreciated, and that their opinions matter, or that somebody, gives a shit about them. How about that?
Gives a damn. And the best thing too, you see it now. People are quitting with nothing to go to. They are like, you know what? Peace, deuces. I'm out. I can't do this. It's not new, but at this scale, like, it's documented at this point. LinkedIn has many articles about it, which is great. It's like, oh my gosh, this is happening. People are just like, and also I'm seeing it from friends too. They're like, look, I can't. I'm just going to take some time with my family and just do me and chill out. Whatever I get to is whatever I can get to.
Yeah. Angel says it. Corporate culture is so important. It starts with listening to all of your people, right? And then that's not just, you can't just set up a bunch of meetings as a leader and be like, we're going to do 30 minutes and I want you to come tell me all the positives and negatives, right? That's not listening. Not really. It's being aware of somebody's change in behavior that puts a blip on your radar that goes, maybe they're not okay. And then being able to ask more pointed questions. You can't just make it huge and broad like that, because people who are on your team, they may feel some sort of, hang up about talking freely about what all their complications are, because they're worried that there actually are going to be repercussions. So they keep it very close, and you won't notice that it's happening whenever they start to abandon ship.
Yep.
But that's part of, really being able to take that time to reflect on yourself as a leader and seeing, where you may be having some problems. And I'm not saying that everybody on your team is going to be too terrified to talk to you. If they are, you're going to have some serious, like, you need to go, there's some other people that can help with you.
Yes.
Like, that's bad. Like, that's hard to turn that ship around. But there's always going to be a Rachel or an Alexis that's going to be real honest with you, but
yes.
Right.
The one that you touched on something on the culture that is always funny to me. I don't understand leaders that are okay. I'll give an example. You know how, like, you and other managers will kind of sit around the campfire or the water cooler or whatever little mini chat you got, and you're just talking. And that one manager's always complain like, oh, this person's asking me this question again, and this person's doing this again, and this person's doing, and you're like, do you even want to do this? Do you even want to be a leader? So why are you doing it? Like, why are you, like, it's like, do you just, like, some people are made to do this, some people are not, it's okay. But if you just don't want to ever be bothered, if you just want to collect a check, if you just want, that's one thing. It's like, I want people to recognize if they just don't want to do that. They don't want to lead people. And don't actually,
that's a choice.
If you don't like people.
Right. Also, maybe this isn't the thing that you need to be hanging out and doing, right? Like, being, and I can tell you right now that if if I had a manager that was up there and they were like poisoning the environment with toxicity, and like all of my coworkers that I thought were going to be awesome to work with suddenly start abandoning ship, me as the last person left, if my manager was like, I feel like we should look at having somebody, like, I would have so much more respect for you as a professional and as a person if you were able to admit your own shortcomings or your own lack of passion about what you're doing, and either help find the person that might be more suited. But I know that's hard to do, because then, you as the leader in the role may be enjoying a certain amount of compensation that's a little higher, but your life is going to get real hard when you can't find good people to help work for you, because guess what?
Yes.
The business is going to 100% expect you to still get all of those things done that they expected your team to get done.
Yeah.
And if you have no team left, guess who's doing it all?
Right.
It's you. So
Exactly.
help yourself out, man.
So it's like, just as much as you're planning for like the revenue or whatever like target metric that you have to do for whatever organization you're with, you also have to plan with, okay, how do I inspire people to want to help me reach that thing?
Yeah.
Because the higher up you're trying to go, the more help you actually will need. And so that's where it's like, by default, you're now actually a leader and you have to actually commit to certain things. It's not just about, I'm now in this position with this title and I now have these people that are working for me. You now have a responsibility. And I don't know if everyone understands what that responsibility means. Doesn't mean that you're necessarily a slave to your people in that sense, but you do need to be some form of a servant leader, because they are the ones that help achieve your goals.
Yeah. Early in some leadership positions that I took up just in different industries and in a previous life, right? Once upon many moons ago. One of the big things that I struggled with was understanding that I didn't have to be right. I didn't have to be right all the time. I didn't have to be the one that came up with the ideas or executed the plan flawlessly. I didn't have to be that, because it was so much better and the ideas were so much better whenever I included collaborative thoughts from the team that I was managing.
Yep.
Right. And man, you want to talk about being way less stressed out. Okay. Like as a leader, whenever I was like, started to recognize that my responsibility was not to be the superstar. My responsibility was to spotlight the superstars on my team at different times, whenever it was that their specific skills were just phenomenal and amazing to have implemented. Like, just their ideas, having put those in place, and then we figured out how to get it done and together. I got so much more happy. Let's just say happy whenever I started being able to, realize that I didn't have to do that. One, it took a lot of pressure off of me as the leader of that team. And two, do you know how excited they got? They were so stoked. And I was like, I am stoked for you. This is awesome. Like, yeah, let's do your idea. I like your idea better. I couldn't have thought of that by myself.
Right.
It's just, I don't know.
One of the big drivers for us and our program, right, because we're education, first of all, and we rely heavily on volunteers. So our chief and probably most critical part is being able to have a vision, right? So our vision is our cause. We are here to try to help change lives for the better, for the people that are around us here, and to help save and secure this nation. And whenever we run into problems, whenever we have difficulties, it's like, well, let's point back to that, right? It's our ruler that we can hold up to help measure and say, this is what we're trying to accomplish. It's not results, but it's the overall vision that we're trying to go at. How does that work in a corporate culture? How do you use those elements in the corporate culture?
So it's kind of like a mission statement. So every org that I go to, I always try to figure out, and for Amazon, we usually call it tenets. Tenets is like, here are the things, and then we always say, here are the tenets unless you know better, because we call it iterative. It's not like this massive thing where this is the mission, this is the tenets, and it's for every org structure you want is this tenets layout. And I'll give an example. So the tagline for my team is trust equals adoption. Because if we inspire trust in our cloud services, our solutions, our environments, our regions, then customers will want to adopt them and leverage them. That's our role to be able to get to it. It always goes back to the customer. And so we have different things. We have like, okay, so trust, earn trust, build trust, learn. Like that's another like thing we have. That's like the how to the trust equals adoption vision. But so we talk about trust a lot. Whenever something happens, I'm like, so how do we earn trust here? How do we build trust here? And that's how we manifest it. It's like through tenets like that, where it's like, this is what we do. This is how we do it. And everyone drives back to that. We even try to make metrics based on how well we're doing that thing. That's how we kind of do it. That way people can tie it back from a day-to-day task to the actual vision for what the team is doing, though it's called tenets over here.
That's cool.
Got it. And
I do. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I do struggle when I go to an org or I see an org or I go to a company and I see something and it's like, so what's the mission? And you were like, I don't know. Like that, honestly, coming to my team and I made a vision statement and I realized, oh my gosh, it's too convoluted. It was like trust inspires this, It was like a lot of stuff. And so when I got good feedback, when one of my people managers came back to me and said, you know that no one knows our mission? And I was like, oh, no, that's the worst nightmare. Oh my gosh. It's like, why are you freaking out? I'm like, because they don't know what they're doing and why they're doing it.
Right.
They're just they're doing it for the job. Right.
Or the results.
Yes, exactly. Or for the results. And their expectations are like, well, if I keep doing this, then I'm good. Checking out. I'm good. But if anything falls into that bucket, outside of that bucket, they have no clue what their obligations are. They have no clue what to do. That's what stresses me out when an org or even something from my group is like, we don't have a vision or we don't know what it is.
Yeah.
That is what stresses me out.
For me, the vision in a company or in an organization, it always feels kind of like, and I don't want to piss anybody off. It always kind of feels like organized religion. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's an ideology that we're all following together, and we all get together and kind of worship that ideology. Now I know that there are going to be several people that are like organized religion, right?
Yeah.
But you guys, they got something going on, okay? Like there's a lot of members that subscribe to this organized religion thing, okay? And they feel real good about it, and they show up for free once a week. Like, figure out how to bottle that.
Well, but the other thing too is one thing that's very interesting. So like nonprofits or certain like service organizations, as you're talking about, Will, right? And then corporate, like you still have to inspire people to want to help and do those things or join your company or want to be there.
Right.
So it's like, I think people feel like money is not really the only compensation. Like people at AWS, people at these tech companies, they get paid generally. They get paid. There might be some complaints internal, but it's like, look, y'all bougie. Y'all always want more. But it's like, you get paid.
Yeah.
Well, people still can be not happy. Or people still quit. So if money was the common denominator, like if everyone got this amount, then everyone will be happy. Not really. Because we talk about that happiness quotient thing. I forgot what it's called, but it's like once your household makes a certain amount of money, any above that, there's a marginal difference, if not any at all.
Yeah, because you can only work so much and spend so much at the same time.
Right.
Okay, maybe some people feel like, no, I can work and spend still, but like
when you can consider the power of the cause, right? I mean, just think about K-12, right? How many teachers are there out there that are working their tushes off, using their own money to help make things happen in the classroom, and trying to make a difference, right? There's a lot of them out there, and you will find incredibly passionate individuals simply because they're working for a cause. And if you can inject that in your leadership, that there's a reason why we're here and how much it will improve everybody and how much it will make a difference. If you can do that, then you get that going. And plus, if you then include in that a sense of security, it's really hard for people to be creative when they don't feel secure.
It is. That's so true. Oh my gosh. We need to put that on a t-shirt. For you to feel creative and to get creative, or just, kind of, no, exactly what Will said. I can't restate it. I can't. That's perfect. That is absolutely 100% perfect. You have to feel very secure in your place before you can start to, because if you're not, then your brain and all your energy and emotional well-being is focused on getting to some sense of security. And we're not talking normally, like, right, this is kind of a cybersecurity focused thing. I'm not talking about that. We're talking about personal, like, you feel like this is a safe place.
The warm and fuzzy.
Yeah. The warm and fuzzy. We got to get more warm and fuzzy. Yeah. I agree. And I think one of those
back to trust.
Really, yep, it goes back to trust. And people that may not, folks on your team that may not trust you as a leader, and you want to you are passionate about it, but maybe you're not sure how to go about it, or you think maybe you could add some stuff to your weekly tasks that maybe help kind of introduce that. I really like the idea of like team-led roundtable things. And a lot of people are like, yeah, they don't work though. People turn their cameras off. They don't say anything. Nobody answers questions or anything else. Is that because you as a leader have set the agenda and you said, this is what we're going to talk about? And now people are afraid that if they're not well versed in it or whatever else, right? Like, I always feel like as a leader, you should gather the time and coordinate that, but make it team led. Don't you get up there and lead it. Let them lead it, because they're going to feel more comfortable sharing ideas with their peers than they are with the leader. Sorry.
That's true.
Unless you're one of those leaders that's like, I'm a leader of the people, like those people are, they're doing well, and it can be stuff where, even afterwards, if you notice that somebody didn't have, look, Angel said it, think tanks. If people are on there that, oh good, it showed up on the chat too. I was worried that I was looking at the LinkedIn and then it wasn't showing up over here and people are like, what? It's, I don't even now, look, squirrel chasing. No, Rachel lost her thought right there. We really do make this up as we go.
Well, the other parts of that too, right, is that when you get into those situations where you have a lot of people sharing, and I'm guessing this is where you were going, was that those that are not, that you don't catch necessarily sharing as much as they should, you need to really kind of pull out from those people that were not speaking up, because sometimes you get some of the best thoughts out of that. But you have to be open and being willing to pull that out and not stepping up and taking over the show, right?
That's true.
Summer's coming to hang out with us today. She was on one of those
hey,
previous
Summer.
On those previous roundtables. For those who don't know, Summer Dan is the executive director for the East Baton Rouge Parish Career Technical Education Center.
Educators.
She's one of those passionate people that are taking pay cuts. But I always try to help Summer out with anything that she might be. Aw, thanks. Look, I meant to click it off and then I immediately clicked it back on. Anywho, Summer's got a great program that she stood up with the public school system here. And my kids go to public school too. And I just wanted to mention, if y'all have kids that are, in the school system, I actually try to reach out to their teachers every once in a while, because they're not going to come to you and ask for help, right? That feels rude to them. But I always ask them, I'm like, do you need anything? And last year specifically, I was thinking of a time that they asked, like halfway through the year, one of the teachers was like, hey, we need, $3 or something from every parent to help resupply crayons or something like that. Well, we live in a very dynamically diverse economic area, right? Some people are making $10 an hour and some people are, making $300,000 a year. And all these kids go to the same public school. So I reached out and I told him, I was like, I know not every parent's going to be able to send money or remember to do that or even see your note. Would it be okay if we sent a few extra packs of crayons to kind of cover that or whatever else you need? Give me a list. I bought like a 24-pack case of crayons and sent it to this and like just shipped it Amazon to the school. It cost me like $40. It wasn't even expensive. And then sent her a few other things. And she had a surplus and ended up sharing it with some of the other teachers. And I was like, see, that was easy. You should just ask. Just ask
right.
me. But they're not going to ask, right? They're going to feel really weird about that or guilty or whatever. But yeah, reach out to your kids' teachers every once in a while. Just check in
right now.
Just check in. They need construction paper. Do they need, safety scissors? Like whatever it is. It could be something small that'll just give them more hope and, keep my kids in school for 6 hours a day at least. Thank you to all the educators. I have spent a lot of time during COVID with all of my children at home at the same time, and I only have 3 and they have 30, and I don't know how you guys do it. So good job.
I only have the one, and he crazy. Crazy. I think it's from me. But I'm just looking at him like, you just want to scream for like 2 hours straight because you just feel like it because you saw something on TV, you want to scream? Loud noises. Okay.
It's intense. Yeah. Like my kids come up with some questions sometimes where I'm like, I can't even, and then they'll all talk at the same time, and I can't imagine that 10 times scale. I can't, sometimes you can tell whenever like the mom brain just like stopped with any sort of connectivity, and I just kind of stare at them for a little while, and I'm like, we're loading. I'm sorry.
It's all about controlling flow. But that brings up a lot of the kind of leadership that Alexis was talking about, right?
Oh no, we lost her.
Oh no.
Where'd she go? Speaking of connectivity. Oh no.
Well, she's in a hotel, right? So
yeah, she's on a hotel Wi-Fi at the event.
That can zap you at times, unfortunately.
Yeah, she'll come back. They always do.
But man, awesome thoughts coming through over here.
Yeah, there's a lot. And that's as soon as I saw her sharing like that she wanted to do this leadership thing, I loved it because hanging out with like Alexis and like Summer were on those events too previously. Told you.
There she is.
She can't get enough of us. Hanging out like on the tables and stuff like that. And just Alexis, just even I'm going to talk about you like you're not here. So just hold on a second. She can't hear me anyway. Look, she looks confused. Can you hear us? No. Oh, I can't hear you. Yeah. Settings. Go to the settings wheel. Oh, she can't hear us. It's pointless.
She'll get there.
Settings, gear wheel. Oh no, look, she's gonna restart. And we're back. Maybe. I don't know. Hello?
Can you hear us?
She can't. No, she's got But even during those previous events that we were on, and even virtually, right? Because Alexis is another person I've never met in person. She's just gonna eat chips. Hi. I know. I don't know why. Did you unplug and plug it back in? Your headphones? Did you unplug and plug it back in?
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, the audio cut out.
Oh, hey, we can hear you. Yeah, we can hear you.
It's just you.
Oh.
Yep.
I can see you guys, but I can't hear you.
Oh no.
Oh. Anybody know American Sign Language? And that's hard.
Back in again.
Okay. Gremlins. Brad says Gremlins.
I don't know if anyone remembers the old Monty Python skit where they did like Wuthering Heights by Semaphore and by that ship-to-ship lantern, you know, and oh, cliff.
Whatever it is that you're describing, it feels like that. Yes.
There we go. Now I hear you guys.
Hey,
excellent.
Awesome. Woohoo.
Woo-hoo. Fantastic. So I wanted to finish my little thought. Even when I met Alexis virtually, like I'm going to talk about you like you're not here. You missed all that. When I met Alexis the first time virtually with the ladies' table, I could just feel this. You have a presence, Alexis. And I don't know if it's executive, but it's definitely a light in a storm. Okay.
Oh, thank you.
And I was like, you know what? This is somebody who is, and I think it's the confidence piece of it, right? I think that's another big chunk of what makes you an effective leader. And you don't have to be confident because you have the right answers. You can also be confident to screw it up. It's okay. I'm confident. I'm confident every day that I am imperfect. All the time. Look, I have a zit today. You see it?
No, I do not. I do not see it.
Is that better? Yeah, I'm very confident about how imperfect I am all the time.
Well, the awesome part of this is that you're fun and you're honest. I mean, honesty is a huge part of it.
Yep.
Exactly. Yep. And you're not pulling any punches. I feel like there's a natural distrust meter that comes when people are talking a certain way or doing certain things. It's like, I don't really know about this person. And you don't know why. It's like, well, I don't feel like you're presenting your full authentic self.
You know what makes that even harder whenever you work in the cybersecurity industry? We automatically, one of the reasons why a lot of people are in cybersecurity is because they have a healthy distrust of everything. All of it.
Yes.
Including the people. So we're also quite a few of us very good at, open source intelligence gathering about you. So if you want to get up there and decide that you don't feel confident about the pieces of you that you think aren't fabulous, but don't worry, they are. All the pieces of you are fabulous. Okay. Exactly. You are beautifully and fiercely made. All right. All of you is great. All of it.
Exactly.
Even the cellulite. I don't care. Get up there.
Especially cellulite.
Because I can find some picture that your mama shared on Facebook of you from 6 years ago when you were going through that grunge phase. Okay, I'm just saying, like, just be you all the time because you're already you all the time on the internet. You just don't realize everywhere you are. Don't lie about it. Look, Alexis froze again. Woo! Hotel Wi-Fi. But yeah. The authenticity piece is huge, especially because you need to exude the quality in yourself that you want to pull out of the people you're leading. And if they're going to be honest and engaging about, ideas or problems or things that arise or comments and concerns, they're going to feel more confident about sharing those things with you as a leader if you also share those kinds of honest pieces with the team, right? That's pretty key. Yeah, we lost her. She's gonna come back. We're having mic issues. I'm so sad because Alexis is fabulous. I'm just really glad too that excuse me, I'm still getting over a cold. I'm just really glad too that she was able to join us. Honestly, like in Miami doing stuff.
Yeah, if she's at a conference and all that kind of stuff, that's very generous. to jump in and spend the time here with us.
Yeah. I heard her beep. I don't see her though. So that's disconcerting. Very curious. We're doing this next week too. We got about 10 minutes left here. We're not doing bad today on time. And it looks like everybody's had a good time. Y'all had a good time? I see Brad and Vicky. Vicky said, I love Monty Python. I'm sure we've got quite a few fans.
Oh, well, that was part of my poor upbringing. I guess my dad put me on too much Monty Python.
I mean, but is there such a thing as too much? I don't feel like there is. I feel like there's a perfect amount of Monty Python that everyone should be exposed to. Okay.
Well, the interesting thing is with Monty Python, people either tend to like it or they don't. It tends to be very.
I don't know. If you don't enjoy a little Monty Python humor, maybe that should be a piece of you you're not honest about to everybody.
You have to be able to really enjoy absurdity, right? That's Monty Python. Alexis.
How is she in the chat? But I can't see her. Like her connectivity is not there. She can hear us, and she's still in the private chat. Alexis, we love you. I don't think we're gonna be. I wanted to give you a chance to have some final thoughts, but you know what? I think this is a great. Yeah, she says connectivity is not working now at all. You guys go check out Alexis's blog. It's gonna be awesome. Well, she's already got the one piece up. Here, let me share it again. She's already got the one piece up. Follow her there. That is an excellent place to go. She has some wonderful ideas. And she says, love yourself. Anyone can be leaders. Oh, man, that's so true. I mean, you don't have to be in a leadership position to lead, right? Like the students at the event, right? I was like, why aren't you guys, you want to know how to network and how to connect? Look around this room, connect with these people right here. And then what did they do? A leader stood up amongst them and was like, let's gather and make a group. And I was like, oh, they're doing it.
They're taking initiative, right? And there is no better lesson that we can teach, but to help them to be confident to take initiative. That is so important and so powerful.
Oh, man.
And fall right in line with what Alexis is saying here, right?
Yeah, she says, continue to be fearless, authentic, strategic thinking, sponsorship are important. And number 3, the second part of the blog series is coming out Monday. She says Monday. Woo-hoo! I didn't want to say Monday just in case something happened, but Monday, her blog series is going to be coming out. Next week, we're going to be hanging out with Steven. It's Steven Simoroth. Okay, so if you guys don't if you don't follow, there we go, English take 2. If you don't follow Steven on LinkedIn, you should definitely go do that. Super fun, very energetic, love him to death, and we're going to have him on for next week to talk with. So
cool.
So Will, did you have any closing thoughts?
The one part that we weren't able to get in with was a question that brought up was how to recognize when you're maybe in a bad leader position and what some of your options might be. But maybe we can have her back and cover something along those lines. But it's so important in my mind, if you're going to be a leader or part of an organization, to believe in what you're doing, right? And a good leader will put forth the cause and the why so that everyone can get behind and know that they're part of and know that everybody has each other's back. And you can't do that unless you honestly have each other's back.
Yeah. I always think a good piece of a good marker of quality leadership is not someone who tries to stand on the soapbox themselves, but they become the soapbox for others to stand on. those are my favorite leaders, are the ones who empower the people to share and contribute and kind of lead the way, right? I love that. And you know, Alexis is so right. Anybody can be a leader. It doesn't matter. No matter who you are, where you come from, what role you're in currently. If you want to start being a leader, just start. That's it. Don't be scared. Just stand up and do it. It's good. It's good for you. It's good for the people around you. And all you'll do is just feel really good about it if you do it the right way, I think. Anyway. We love you all. Thank you for circling up and grabbing a cup with us today. Alexis was awesome, even though we lost her. So sad we lost her. And Will, thank you as always for coming and hanging out.
Oh, it's always a blast. And man, it was so much fun having you down here in Tucson. That was great.
It was. Apparently, I'm allergic to the desert though, because I was like so sick. I'm still like, if you guys see that, I'm like coughing up a lung over here. It's because I'm still like just kind of the crud, right? is happening. But yeah, and then whenever you add other medical complications like anemia and stuff, it makes it hard for you to get back up and go. But I'm so glad that everybody was able to join today too. We've got quite a few on the LinkedIn platform as well from YouTube, and then all of my special little happy lurkers down in Twitch and Facebook and everywhere else that they may be joining from. We will see you next week. Same bat channels, same bat time. It's the same time. Oh, good. And have a fabulous weekend. Enjoy it. I know the weather is going to be amazing in some parts of the country this weekend, Louisiana included. It's gorgeous outside right now.
It's nice here in Tucson too. And thank you so much, Alexis. That was awesome.
It was awesome. Look, Alexis says, this was awesome. So sad to cut out. Oh, that's okay. We love you. You tried. That's all. You tried hard. But we will see you guys next week.
Cheerio, folks.